in the United States of what I call North America. We have got to have more sense of unity. Does this mean that no, because that's not going to happen. That never happens. But the people who really believe in the importance of unity, we need to get together. And what I would like to see happen is that strong believers in Black unity in various places around the country, major cities and towns around the country, should have a meeting. They should say, and brother, I believe this, if you do not believe in serious Black unity and you do not believe in Pan-Africanism, please stay home. Because these meetings that we're having are not designed to get other people. These are designed to get the people together who believe in these things and then begin to come up with concrete ways of promoting our people to move into them. The second thing after Black unity is Pan-Africanism. And both of these things I got from Brother Malcolm. Brother Malcolm said he was a strong believer in the absolute necessity of Pan-Africanism, and especially of a strong relationship between people of African descent in North America, or the United States in North America, and on the African continent. And that's why he spent several months of the last year and a half of his life on the continent, talking to African leaders and talking about the absolute importance of a serious Pan-Africanism. So to me, those are two things that we need to be given to our young people. The importance of unity. And when I say, as I said before, when I say unity, I mean getting together the people who believe in the need for that, who believe in that, and all they want to do is to get together and figure out what we're going to do. Now, we're not going to agree on every single word and every single, but at least we believe, and we're there with the idea that the important thing is Black unity. And then the second cause, as I said before, is Pan-Africanism. And I think if we did those two things in a serious manner, then it would greatly improve our status in this country and in the world. The right information about our history and our people is very important. Mm-hmm. Very important. Because they tried to. You remember when they put Brother Malcolm on the, was it a dollar bill? They were trying to snatch him up and make him do the Malcolm X. When he joined the nation,
commercialized.
When he became when he went to Mecca, he changed. No.
So you ready to go?
Let's go.
Okay, so let me do this. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us your name, brother?
Okay, my name is A. Peter Bailey.
And today is June 9th, 2025.
2025.
Okay. And this is a conversation with Elder Brother Peter Bailey. And you're 87 years?
87 years old.
Okay, let's just kick this off. 87 years, if you could tell people in a short summary of the most important things that need to be paid attention to right now, mm-hmm. for Black Americans, Afro-Americans, foundational Black, whatever they go, what would you suggest that we do that can change our situation?
There are two things that I strongly believe we need to be doing right now. The first is Black unity, especially on people of African descent in the United States and what I call North America. Mm-hmm. We have got to have more sense of unity. Does this mean that no, because that's not going to happen. That never happens. But the people who really believe in the importance of unity, we need to get together. And what I would like to see happen is that strong believers in Black unity in various places around the country, major cities and towns around the country, should have a meeting. They should say, and brother, I believe this, if you do not believe in serious Black unity and you do not believe in Pan-Africanism, please stay home. because these meetings that we're having are not designed to get other people. These are designed to get the people together who believe in these things, and then begin to come up with concrete ways of promoting our people to move into them. The second thing after Black unity is Pan-Africanism. And both of these things I got from Brother Malcolm. Brother Malcolm was a strong believer in the absolute necessity of Pan-Africanism, and especially of a strong relationship between people of African descent in North America, or the United States in North America, and on the African continent. And that's why he spent several months of the last year and a half of his life on the continent, talking to African leaders and talking about the absolute importance of a serious Pan-Africanism. So to me, those are two things that we need to be given to our young people: the importance of unity. And when I say, as I said before, when I say unity, I mean getting together the people who believe in the need for that, who believe in that, and all they want to do is to get together and figure out what we're going to do. Now, we're not going to agree on every single word and every single, but at least we believe, and we're there with the idea that the important thing is Black unity. And then the second cause, as I said before, is Pan-Africanism. And I think if we did those two things in a serious manner, that it would greatly improve our status in this country and in the world.
Mm. Mm. Okay, now tell me something. If you were to tell us a little bit about working for Ebony and Jet and Simeon Booker and your experience as a Black independent journalist.
Mm-hmm. Well, working for Ebony magazine and Jet magazine were extremely important in my life, and I will always give Mr. Johnson credit for bringing me on board when I really just had 2 years of college. I did not have no journalistic degree. But Mr. Johnson was a very, very serious man when it came to getting his magazine and keeping his magazine up to date as to what was happening in the Black community. And he was well aware of my having been very involved with Brother Malcolm. Mm-hmm. So one of the jobs that I took had was with Ebony magazine as a clerk, as an editorial reference clerk. I handled the incoming mail and saw that it went into the right places. Mm. And as a result, I got to know, the people. I got to know Lerone Bennett. I got to know somebody like Lerone Bennett. So
tell a little bit about Lerone Bennett Jr. Mm-hmm. If you could.
Okay.
You always talk about his books.
Lerone Bennett, to me, I would say, is the third most important person in my life, my political and Pan-Africanist and Black unity life after Brother Malcolm and Brother Earl Grant. Lerone Bennett is number 3. Lerone Bennett was the person to me who, more than any other journalist, was able to get our history out into the public. I give Mr. Johnson credit for giving us Lerone Bennett and providing a vehicle that he used to get information out that was not available in any other national magazine in America at that time. Mm-hmm. And so Lerone to me is one. When I was teaching, I have taught journalism students at 3 colleges and lectured on Black journalism at about 25 or 30 colleges around the country. And I always make sure that they understand the absolute importance of Lerone Bennett Jr.
And his books?
Well, his books, Conspiracies, no, that's somebody else.
Before the Mayflower?
Before the Mayflower. To me, Before the Mayflower should be required reading for a young, Black person, let's say, who's in high school. Mm-hmm. That should be required reading. Every serious Black person should make sure that their child or children that they know in their neighborhood were aware of and read that book. And that kind of, from then on, the other books that Lerone did.
Forced into Greatness.
Forced into Greatness.
There's a chapter called "A Liberal's Tea and Sympathy." Liberals, what book is that in?
Yes. Mm-hmm. He was a master.
Okay.
And what he could do was to write, information like that in a way that could be easily understood. You know what I mean? Sometimes people people on that level, they write in such a way, but only people, let's say, with 3 or 4 Ph.D.s, can really understand what they are saying.
Right.
Lerone knew how to write in a way where he could tell the great truths and the great history, the great traditions, and that kind of thing. He could write it in such a way that people could understand it. Even though they might not, themselves be highly educated. He knew how to talk, how to write to people, who, if they were interested in knowing something about our people and what our people were doing, what our people have done, and what our people need to do if we to have a great future. Lerone knew how to write about it in a way that people could read and understand.
And you mentioned Dr. Grant. He passed a few years ago.
Dr. who?
Dr. Grant, you had mentioned.
Oh, Earl Grant.
Yes.
Earl, to me, is the second most important person in my life after Brother Malcolm. And the reason I say that is because Earl was the type person who could go to a meeting and sit there and take notes and then come back and teach you. He was a quiet person. He did not raise a whole lot of noise. But when you want to know something real about what happened at a meeting or what happened at an event or what this article is all about or what's going on in this movie, Earl was the type of person you could go to and get a serious answer. Now, does it mean that you agree with him on everything he said? No, he did not demand that. But he gave you a concrete analysis of those kinds of things. And to me, he was extreme. To me, he was the second most important person in developing my unity, belief in unity and Pan-Africanism after Brother Malcolm.
And I've got Alvin Ailey and Carlos Moore, 2 people that you know.
Okay, Alvin was, to me, was one of the people who taught our history through culture, through dance. Alvin, to me, Revelations, and some of the other things that he did, man, he made you see our history. He could take our history and interpret it in dance. And to me, again, young people who are serious, who want to know especially about Black culture and the role of Black culture and the connection of Black culture and Black history, they need to know Alvin Ailey. I was fortunate enough to write his, work with him on his autobiography, and that book to me should be required reading. Another one of those books that should be required reading for especially for younger Black folks, so they can see the importance of culture and how Brother Malcolm always talked about culture. He believed in it, and Alvin carried it out to me in the dances that he created, in Cry and in Revelations, man. Those are masterpieces.
Carlos Moore.
Carlos was someone who made me see the role of Brother Malcolm outside of of people of African descent in North America. He was a person. Carlos was originally from Cuba, and so he interpreted events or gave that history and showed that history and tied it up and tied our history with the history of Black people in Cuba. There's nobody to me who gave a better analysis of that than Carlos did. And so I think, and he was a very strong supporter of Brother Malcolm, and I believe very strongly that he, more than anyone else, made me see the absolute importance of Pan-Africanism. Carlos played a major role. Of course, Brother Malcolm was the one who made me see it clearly, but Carlos was one of the ones who helped to reinforce and provide information that I could pass on to other people.
I want you to talk about important women, including your mother, C. Dolores Tucker, Ella Baker, and any other great black woman that you're exposed to. I know you were around Sister Yuri Kuchiyama. There are a range of these great black women that you knew.
Well, of course, C. Dolores Tucker.
Oh yes,
was a
giant.
Was a giant.
Giant.
And she was the one who basically showed black people that words are very important. Words, she was the one who took that and taught it in such a way, or revealed it in such a way that even a junior high school student could understand what she was talking about.
She was a beautiful person.
Frances Cress Wellesley.
Oh yes.
Yes, that was another one. Who her book.
ISIS Papers.
Crisis. What is it?
ISIS Papers.
I can't suspect, man, to be quiet again. You got to read it. You got to read it if you're serious. Serious about certain things and going with our people.
And I have to say this: you live right across the street from Carter G. Woodson's old house,
yes,
just a few blocks away. Right?
Yes.
Okay, but the women. Your mama. What was your mother like? She had to have been a great woman.
My mother was a type person. She believed very strongly in education, and she believed very. My mother had my father had 10 children. One kind of born out of wedlock, my oldest sister. 2 sons by his first wife, and the oldest son was 2 years older than me. The youngest son, he and I were 3 months apart in age. So he was when he started dealing with my mom, he was all still married, And I used to, because when I got to be an adult, I used to tease my mom sometimes about that. But my mother be very strongly, and the thing that I thought was very important, those 3 women made sure that we knew each other.
Wow.
My 2 half brothers and my half sister, they came to family reunions, to Bailey family reunions. My mom invited them, made sure that they came and visited us and maybe stayed with us for a couple of weeks, so that unlike a lot of times where where those the women kind of keep those children apart from each other. Those 3 women made sure that those 10 children knew each other.
There's a woman that you worked with, Gloria Richardson. She's passed within the past.
Yes.
Just tell people about her.
She was
please.
Again.
Giant.
She was a giant. She was the one who combated that whole system, made and revealed that system in
Cambridge, Maryland.
Maryland.
Cambridge, Maryland.
Where they were using what was it that they were using? Oh God, I can't.
It's the Maryland Dixiecrat.
Yeah, but it was some kind of thing you had to do in order to vote.
Poll tax.
Poll, yes. She was the one who really fought that and helped to get rid of it.
And so they were ignoring the Smith v. Allwright case?
Yeah.
Wow. In my lifetime, because I remember it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough into the 70s.
Yes.
And let's see how we overlap. I mean, you are 27 years older than I.
Yeah.
And you remember Eastern Shore, Maryland being hell.
Yes.
And I remember Eastern Shore, Maryland being hell.
Yeah. And Eastern Shore, Maryland was very heavily, in terms of the population, black folks were a major part of that population.
Majority population.
And basically couldn't do nothing.
It's the
politically, economically, and
Mississippi
culturally.
of the North.
Yeah, it truly was. And right outside of D.C.
Right, and she would face U.S. soldiers with fixed bayonets, machine guns. Right. This woman stand up to the National Guard. I mean,
she was an absolute major figure that came out of that time, man. And all of these are people that our young people should be aware of. There was someone.
Betty Shabazz.
It's Coretta Scott King. They were the wives of
Daisy Bates, you remember?
Yeah, Daisy Bates. She was one of the ones that was that in Little Rock. Yeah, she was in Little Rock, having Daisy Bates. But
And I asked you about Ella Baker. You were in SNCC.
yes.
Okay,
yes.
when did you join SNCC?
I really was never. I was in like SNCC. You know, I guess you call it afterwards.
Okay.
I was not in SNCC when it was like, you know, a major historic organization. I kind of joined it, you know, later.
Okay.
After things had kind of, you know, quieted down some, because, you know, because instead of when I had a choice to join the SNCC and working with Brother Malcolm, that's when I had to make that choice.
Yeah.
And I decided to work with Brother Malcolm.
And you were
because, you know,
Howard?
people were telling me, you know, you should not. That, you know, if you they're going to put that on you. You're going to go in the FBI files. You know, if you work with him, man, you're going to be denying yourself maybe some jobs, you know, some government or statewide jobs later, because, you know, of the way because they're going to automatically put you in the, you know, in the files. But by that time, you know, I had decided.
And so you're a charter member of the Organization of Unity,
Organization of
African American Unity.
And we had that name because it was the Organization of African Unity was founded in 1963, and Brother Malcolm, of course, strongly supported that. So in 1964, when we set up our organization, he told us that it was going to be called the Organization of Afro-Americans. It was the OAU, and we were going to be the OAAU, Organization of Afro-American Unity.
And forgive me for moving fast, but I want to just give people a taste. Tell me a little bit about your father, and then how many books? You have about 4, 5, 6 books.
Yeah.
And you still write, though.
Yeah, my father was Upson Bailey Sr.
From Alabama?
From Alabama, Tuskegee, Alabama.
Wow.
Grew up in Tuskegee, and joined the American military when he was like, I think, 18 years old. Served in the World War II in Japan. And of course, Dad was the one who told me a lot about the racism that existed in the United States Army, even during the wartime.
So you remember World War II?
Huh?
You remember World War II?
I don't remember World War II. I just remember what Dad told me about it. You know, because I was like, I mean, I was born in 1938, and I remember him being away, and my uncles and all of that. You know, but it wasn't until he sat down and told me about it that I actually learned about what happened during World War II.
Would you have remembered the Montgomery bus boycott or any of that? Did that make any ripples?
I remember that you know, reading about that.
Reading.
And listening to the news and following it like that. You know, I never. I remember that in Tuskegee. When I was growing up in Tuskegee, I lived in like a black neighborhood. And it was, of course, there was white racism there. But the white folks lived downtown. We lived on this side of the campus, you know, where the Tuskegee Institute there, then called Tuskegee, now it's Tuskegee University. So we could go for days and never see a white person when I was a little kid, you know, unless they were driving a truck, a delivery truck or something like that. But we did not have to deal with them at all.
You attended Howard University?
I attended Howard University for 2 years. From when I got out of the military, I came to Howard, and I went there for 2 years, and Dr.
Arnold Taylor, Olive Taylor, what did they teach?
How they taught history and Afro-American studies. Dr.
The Hansberry.
Hansberry. Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm here to help you out.
I learned. That's where I really got a real kind of serious introduction to Black history,
and you know,
as opposed to what I had been getting, you know, up until that time.
You know, Hansberry taught Jewel Mazique.
Yes.
And so we had to. Man, that's a whole conversation. You and I got to meet Jewel Mazique together. Can you tell them a little bit about Jewel Mazique?
I'll be very frank. I have to let you talk about that.
Well, just in a nutshell, we were together years ago while she was still alive. We had this reunion. That this gentleman, Mr. Bailey, who was one of Malcolm's lieutenants in the Organization of African American Unity, got to meet one of Malcolm X's mentors, this great black woman from Georgia by the name of Jewel Mazique.
Yes.
This woman was flying peace delegations to Moscow in the 1950s.
Yes.
You have to understand how crazy that is.
Yes.
That's crazy now if
Yes.
you did it.
Yes.
She's the first black woman to get advanced graduate degrees in African studies in America, right up the street at Howard University. And she was Malcolm X's mentor, as well as mentors to much of your progressive African leadership of the 1950s and 60s. Used to come to see this woman,
Yes.
who the CIA set out to destroy.
That's right. Yes.
And reduced her from being a great librarian that was the first black to work in the rare book room of the Library of Congress to scrubbing floors.
And see what is extremely important. Now you see how I knew that, but you know, at 87, things don't come to me as fast as they used to.
But that's what we're here for.
But what I'm saying is that though, we got to make sure that our children know that.
Right. That's why I'm bringing it up.
I'll bet you that if you go to 50 black Ph.D.s, let's say who are like 50 years old or younger, they will probably not know who
Let
she
me tell
was.
you something. I met a man within the last 3 days whose last name was Mazique.
Mhm.
And I asked him if he knew about Dr. Mazique. And it's from D.C.
Yeah.
But I asked, did he know Jewel? And he had no idea, had never bothered to check. That's when the greatest crippling effects on our people is the lack of intellectual curiosity and fortitude. That you hear a name that's almost like yours, but you never even bother to check to see. Your name is Mazique. His name is Mazique. How many people got this name?
How many people- right, got that
there's
name.
no connection. You're in the same town, same place. So so don't worry. We got to do this again.
And we as a people, man, this is, as I said before, at 87, I'm kind of a little bit beyond today, but those young, serious young black folks who are now in their 40s and 50s and 60s, they have got to make sure that young black folks, under them, know this stuff. I spend a lot of time now going up to Sankofa, which is, here.
Haile Garima's bookstore. 2714 Georgia Avenue, Northwest Washington,
And I
DC.
go up there almost every Sunday afternoon and talk to young black folks, serious young black folks.
that need to know.
Many of them are from Howard, but they also come from George Washington University, Catholic University. But they come there because that's where they get a lot of introduction and knowledge about black history. And that's extremely important, man. We've got to make sure, and I've got to make sure that I pass on whatever I know to as many young black people as I possibly can.
You went to school with Stokely Carmichael. Wasn't he at Howard the same
No.
time?
He came in after.
He came in after?
Yeah, because I was at Howard from 60 to 62.
Okay, well,
I think he came in
60 and left 64.
Yeah, he came in, but I did not know him. Because I didn't know about it until later that we'd actually been on the ground at the same time. Yeah.
And now you lived in Harlem. What was it like to be in Harlem when it was still a great black metropolis?
Man, I moved to Harlem in 1962, and I cannot tell you what an incredible experience it was to live on 142nd Street in Central Harlem and get a chance to see and meet and go to different places, see places that had some kind of historical, statue. See where Adam Clayton Powell had done a lot of things, and
Do you remember him?
And Wyatt Walker, and and people like the Canaan Baptist Church.
Yes, and
got to know Abyssinian Baptist Church, and got to know the role that they played in our history, and it is extremely important. And in my journalistic career, that's where I started my journalistic career in a serious manner. Around that time.
Remember Carlos Crooks?
Yes. Yes. We have to make sure. We have to make sure that we pass this information
Miss
on.
Shaw's bookstore.
Miss Shaw's bookstore.
Miss Shaw's bookstore. Yeah.
On 116th Street. somewhere around in there.
And all of those
But
things.
that was my introduction to a black old bookstore. Man, when I went to that place, I could not believe it. When I went in there and saw those books there, and then when I moved to Harlem in 1962.
How many books do you think you own now?
Oh, man.
Because this isn't all here, so what, you got about 10,000? How many books you got?
No, because I really I'm giving away books to black college.
Okay,
but I still have probably about 400 or 500.
Well, remember me. I'm a book freak. I'll keep it moving. I want to also remind people, you went to the United Nations with Malcolm X.
Yes.
To put forth the issue of reparations, justice, and all of this.
Yes.
What, in 1960?
It was in late 1960. It was in early 1964. But I would say like about mid 1964.
61 years ago.
Yes.
And people should have been moving faster. I want you to meet Larry Pinckney, because there is a person that sued and won, carrying on Malcolm's thing. Even if you don't know him, I'm going to introduce you. But I want to also say, while we have a moment, talk a little bit about Brother Malcolm. I wanted people to know who you were, because Malcolm's an important thing, but we got to know. So this man who just loved his people, loves history and culture, and now tell us a little bit about...
You know the way I present him to young people when I get a chance to talk? I say, Brother Malcolm was a great human being. Brother Malcolm was a great black man. Brother Malcolm was a great Pan-Africanist. Brother Malcolm was a master educator. And then in the last 15 years, I've added to that. Brother Malcolm was a great learner. And when I say that to young people, I tell them, Brother Malcolm sometimes would go to events and just sit there and take notes and get as much information as he could. He would to go to Mr. Michaud's bookstore, and Mr. Michaud would lock the door and lock him in there, because he would be in there all night reading. So, and it's important if you're going to be a leader and be effective, that you got to know stuff when you go out public. When you go out to speak publicly, when you go out to write publicly, because there are going to be people out there whose sole reason being there is to catch you saying something wrong, or to catch you saying something that's out of touch, so they can use it against you because they don't like what you're doing. And you might say 85% of the things you might say might be absolutely right, but you say 15% that might be a little bit off, and they're going to focus on the 15%.
Got a question.
You're not going to focus on the 85% where you were providing concrete information, because that job is to keep us, unaware of things that is going on in this world, and unless it's stuff that they have put out. So they want us only to read stuff that they put out and to accept that it's like the facts of the world that we live in. When they don't, they do more lying about this world than anybody else on earth.
Let me ask you a question. Is voting the solution to black people's problems?
It's a part of it, but not totally.
Not totally. Is integration the solution to black people's problems?
Well, that's not even, that's immaterial.
Okay.
That's immaterial.
Is coalition and all the stuff and branching out and all this sexuality inclusion?
I think coalition, if we form a coalition with groups who share our interests on particular issues, that's fine.
Yes.
But we should not be tied to anybody. In other words, I'm saying that on the issue of education, if there's some education organization that says, since we share this, y'all want to, fine. But we will keep our independence, and we will be, we'll join them, as a way of getting something that we believe in, not what somebody else believe in. If we join with other groups and work with them, it's because that particular group share the same position that we have on any given issue.
Question: was Barack Obama really, really good for black people, or is he in between?
He's in between, because he allowed the system to act as though this was some kind of incredible, major historical event by putting him in that office when basically it was nothing new. A black person who basically is kind of goes along with the system, has been able to move in this country since it was founded.
And I'm gonna wind down here.
It is nothing new. Barack Obama type people have existed in the United States of America ever since this country was founded. So it was nothing new. It was historic. You got to say it's historical. To have somebody like that, as president, but it was no huge gain, either politically, economically, or culturally, or psychologically.
So if it's no gains, could it basically say that it was as many pros as cons, so it canceled it out? Is that fair?
Yeah,
okay.
I think there were more cons.
More cons.
Than pros. Ooh. And so I think, like I said, it was historic, but we should not look upon it as some kind of something that we would encourage.
A millennium. Okay. So.
The way he got to that position is not something that we should be encouraging young black folks to do.
Reparations, good or bad thing?
I think reparations. I don't think we should lose all of our energy, but I do think we should definitely say that they owed us. Keep that up.
But
keep it out in public, but don't spend all our time on that. But make sure that it can always be a part of whatever we present.
Black leadership, the CBC, the Civil Rights, are any of them doing what they're supposed to do? NAACP, Urban League?
I would say that they are doing maybe 25%. But they are not doing.
But your teacher,
what did I say, brother? What did I say?
It's 25 a pass.
I believe in black unity, and none of those organizations have a serious position on the issue of black unity.
What about the Nation of Islam or Farrakhan?
Again, I don't. To me, their thing is, if you remember the Nation of Islam, and to me, that's like saying you got to be in the NAACP. Or you got to be in CORE, or you got to be, in other words, you got to be a Catholic, that kind of thing, So no, to me, the great leaders are those who see us as a group of people, and who make us believe that whether you're this religion or that religion or that, you're still a black person in the United States of America and in the world.
I got one last question, and this is an international question. Now, I'm a reciprocal Pan-Africanist because I'm from a different generation. Doesn't mean I don't want to work with everybody, but I believe in reciprocity because one way, unilateral Pan-Africanism is a scam. But what do you think about Brother Traore in Burkina Faso, if you've been following him?
I haven't been following him very closely because I don't see the kind of Pan-Africanism, to me, that will eventually promote and protect us as a group of people. See, to me, I'm a Pan-Africanist, but if you, like I said before, brother, I truly wish that in this society, sometime in the next couple of years, we say, if you believe in the absolute importance of black unity, or if you believe in the absolute importance of Pan-Africanism, please come to this gathering that we're having. If you don't believe in these things, please stay home, because we're not. See, we to me.
Do you know that he's doing that?
To me,
I don't know if you're aware, but he's flung open the doors. If you want to bring up Help Africa, Black. In fact, did you know I don't know if he could back it up, but he's told Trump, don't hurt black Americans. Not that he could do much, but he's literally, I haven't seen an
that-
African head of state say anything since Obasanjo.
Yeah.
For black people.
And that I'm in complete agreement with.
Okay.
I'm in complete agreement. See, as I said before, we have to get. See, you know what we do, and I hope this is the last part.
Now, this is the last one.
I always give an example. We have 20 people. 5 of those people are serious. 15, you have to like, well, blah, blah, blah. You know what we would do? And we did this. I'm blaming myself too. We did this in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. We spent all our time trying to change these 15 instead of taking those 5 and doing something.
And so the summation of what you want people to get is work with the ones that will work with you.
True believers.
And the other people, their behinds will follow or they'll be left behind.
You're not writing them off.
Right.
But once we get everything organized, then you have some things that reach out to them. And by the way those people generally are, if we start doing concrete things that protect and promote the interests of our people, they will join.
Well, I have one bonus question. I'll stop. Martin Luther King, a passing grade or failing grade?
Definitely.
And the civil rights movement.
Definitely passing grade.
A passing grade.
I wrote a play, Malcolm, Martin, Medgar. And in that play, I show how these 3 brothers, all 3 of them, were assassinated because when they started getting more and more towards seeking serious black unity. They weren't assassinated when they were doing other things.
Do you think
they were watched?
Do you think they assassinated Powell? Do you think Powell was given cancer?
Adam Clay Powell?
Yes, possible.
I don't. I've always had kind of ambiguous feelings about that. It definitely a possibility.
You know they had developed cancer by that time to the CIA.
Yes.
So
and with him moving the way he was moving, there's absolutely no doubt.
So Powell, passing grade for Powell.
Yes.
Passing grade for Medgar Evers. Passing. What about Whitney Young? Passing grade.
To me, he was kind of back and forth.
Okay. Jesse Jackson, passing grade.
Back and forth.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Bailey. I love you.
I would say one thing. The person who got the lowest grade was Roy Wilkins.
Oh, I didn't even ask about him. You see, I left it out. Oh, James Farmer. Okay, same way. Stokely.
Passing.
H. Rap Brown.
Passing.
Cleve Sellers, who went to Howard with you.
Passing.
Kalia Clark. Oh, John Lewis.
Passing.
You give John Lewis a pass. No, we're going to have some elder abuse. Let's stop. Well, he did get his behind beat for the people. The problem is he didn't stop getting his behind beat for the people. Okay.
We got to stop.
Yeah, we'll do this again. You got to have us come back. We had to beg along. We begged. I sang more blues than B.B. King to get up in here. Okay. Love you, Brother Bailey. You're an answer to prayer. I'll tell anybody, says, God, please let me meet the black-skinned guy that was with Malcolm. God, he took Malcolm. I was young. And at least let me get some of the survivors. I didn't get to Dr. Grant. My friend wouldn't give me the phone number, but I got you. We love you.
Brother, I love you too. And I think, and I have, to me, as I said before, and I never try to treat Brother Malcolm as though he was some kind of God. I don't believe in that. He was not a God. He had some mistakes. He had some things that he could give change. But he was, like I said, he was a great human being, a great black man, a great Pan-Africanist, a master teacher, and a master learner.
Okay. We better cut. It's a wrap. We don't want him to throw us out of his spot.
Here we go. That was wonderful. Thank you so much, brother.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a pleasure and an honor to meet you. Oh, man.
Now, am I going to be able to get this?
Yes.
Okay.
Juanita's Remedy is an all-natural emollient designed to help alleviate mild skin conditions, such as dryness and mild inflammation. Made with natural ingredients selected for their vitamin, mineral, and anti-inflammation properties, visit juanitasremedy.net to begin nourishing your skin with the essence of nature with Juanita's Remedy.